Hello and welcome. This is Wise Woman Television with Errity Green. I first encourage you to like and subscribe. Liking ensures that more people see this video and that we share the wealth that we have been given and gifted. And subscribing ensures your own commitment to yourself, such that every single time a notification comes up, you can return to your own self-growth. So today is what you need to know right now. And what I do every week is I share a video on the messages that are coming through most strongly for the collective, for each and every one of us, for me and for you who are watching. So the first couple of things that are coming up are about a lot of what we've been hearing already the past several weeks of what you need to know right now, or before they were called Wisdom for the World or Weekly Wisdom. And that's that there's some powerful, powerful changes happening right now. There's a lot of purging, a lot of shifting, a lot of transmuting. There's so much happening. And if you at all felt like you were in a dark night of the soul, the years of 2018, 2019, and now you're going into 2020, you're like, what the heck? I've already done this the past 2 years. You were primed and prepared. You were actually ahead of the game. Many people are just now going through it, and their process right now is that much more intense because it hasn't been spread out and it didn't start a couple of years ago. So trust your processing. Everything that's coming up right now, all the gunk and the yuck that you might feel in terms of sensations, uncomfortable feelings, old memories, perhaps depression or anger or whatever, perhaps it's overwhelm or stress, whatever is coming up for you uniquely, trust that this processing is happening for you, because what you're being gifted right now is the opportunity to release all of this stuff. Right now, we're being shown precisely where we are holding ourselves back, where we are creating limitation for ourselves, where we are getting in our own way, and all the ways we simply bring dissatisfaction, harm, damage, or unhappiness to our own lives. We have so much available to us now and in every single moment, and yet we tend to choose the old way that aligns with our conditioning or our old baggage or our own wounding or old wounding. We tend to make those same choices because our biology creates these pathways in our mind, our physiology, such that we end up in stimulus response. It becomes very habitual. Right now, there's so much coming up to the surface, and this is all our subconscious patterning, the stuff that is no longer helping or serving you or me or any of us. It might appear like it's happening outside of you on the world stage, but in truth, take a look at your own reactions and responses and dive in to gain greater understanding of your own responses and where they come from, why. That alone is going to give you enough space so that you can perhaps, if you so choose, make new choices and take new action as your life continues. Who cares about new choices and new action, right? Like, oh, quite cool, new action. That's what gives you a new life. That's what gives you what you were waiting for, what you were seeking, what you are destined for, what you yearn for, what you crave. Get to know yourself, your own attitudes, your own responses, your own assumptions, and down to the root as to why that is, where it came from. And you don't have to do this forever, because discovery of self can last forever, just enough to create enough space within you so that you have enough space when stimuli, or stimulus comes up, you have enough space right there before you take action, which is your response, so that maybe you can make a new one toward a new future. And you know what? The healing is in the new action. The healing is in the new action. When a new choice happens, you're healed. Boom, it's done. The subconscious patterning is gone. The old way is gone. The things that have been passed down through the lineage, poof, are gone. It literally simply takes a new action. And then as you take the next new action and the next new action, you build a new pattern and you grease this wheel so that it becomes even more easy to be able to make those choices. It's not so difficult as you get going, right? Just like a car that's starting and it moves slowly at first, then it moves more quickly, it's in a groove. We are creating new grooves, thus new pathways thus new potentials, thus new possibilities, new futures, and new horizons for ourselves when we make a new choice. All of this begins with this powerful change that's happening right now, both individually and collectively. It's happening at the individual level, and it looks really shitty at the world stage level because it's everyone going through the process at the exact same time. And yet everything that's coming up right now is intentional, is purposeful. We get to decide, is this how we can want to continue to live? Is this how we continue to live? Or do we choose a new way? Do we choose a new path? The new path, however, requires new choices and new responses, which can only be chosen in an intentional, powerful way from a new energy point or a new source when we've gone within ourselves to see where our motivations and intentions and conditioning lie. And what I mean by that is, if we decide, for example, today that I'm just going to start eating a healthier diet, I'm not going to look at the old whys or the root of my old eating habits or where that came from or what that means to me or what it doesn't mean to me or what it symbolizes or represents. No, thank you. I'm just going to start eating a new diet. What's going to happen is we'll eat the new diet probably for the first meal, maybe even for the first day, tops first week, maximum first month, and then we default to the old pattern. Why? Because we haven't addressed or reconciled the root cause, what is actually bringing forth and manifesting this unhealthy eating habit, right? That's why we bring awareness to those pieces and parts of ourselves that are motivating us to respond in a particular way so that we can clear all of that out. Sometimes it's as simple through awareness. Sometimes it's all it takes is just sitting with yourself, getting to understand it, and then starting to take notice when you make your choices, bringing some mindfulness to that so that you can make a new choice. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Sometimes, other times, it requires deeper energy work, esoteric work, working with a shaman or shamanic practitioner, working with some kind of healer, working with any kind of, who do you want to work with, right? Your teacher will come to you. We never know who it is for each and every one of us, right? It's going to look different. However, we make the change by becoming aware of what our motivations are, where all of this is coming from. Once we develop that awareness, we can sort of hold ourselves tenderly and have a gentle awareness around our old patterning, and we can begin to make a new choice and a new set of responses that then creates a new future. That's the change, that's the healing that's available. Now, the next thing is recognizing how everything has led up to this point. Everything in your life has led up to this point today. Everything has led you here. It was all purposeful. It was all intentional. This is good stuff. Everything has led you here, and it's served you and it has supported you. This is the great perfection unfolding. We can trust that, and we can trust that, again, that healing is happening, and surrender to this process. I don't know if some of you who are watching have found yourself still resisting this, still not liking it, still being in a very fear-based place. A lot of the people that I connect with and work with have thankfully processed this to a degree where they feel very free, and fear isn't a primary motivator or awareness or variable in their lives right now. If you find yourself in that place, you have an opportunity to surrender to everything that's here. And it doesn't mean you're surrendering and giving up and giving into all this, right? We're surrendering all the crap and the attitudes and the fear and the junk to surrender into our own divine nature. So that's the opportunity here. Just surrender it all then. Surrender it all. You don't have to be in that place or that mindset. That everything has led you here. Trust that. And there's so much beauty in that statement, because it's saying everything, every moment was purposeful, and that you are right where you are meant to be. So trust that. The final piece is learning to connect with love over judgment. And what that means is, I just talked about this in a video I published on this channel, which you can look at, To Mask or Not to Mask, which is a spiritual truth tea episode where I offer spiritual perspectives on current events. And what I talked about was the difference between observation and judgment. Observation or discernment is when we see something, we see it as it is, and that's it. That's it. There's no judgment on it. There's no evaluation. There's no, oh, this is right and that is wrong. Ooh, I don't know. Right? None of that stuff. It's literally you're just noticing it. Boom. You're done. Right? Versus judgment, where there's evaluation. Oh, I don't like that. And should she really said that? Is she wearing that? Like, look what color, I don't know, look what color she's wearing today. She's supposed to wear that white dress after whatever holiday, right? Okay, so that's not it. And I realize those are very petty examples. However, right now in the world today, where so much of us are going through this purging and this processing and this healing and clearing process, there's so much being triggered and activated within people. People are very trigger friendly. Many people are struggling, to be completely honest, and they're struggling with their mental health. They're struggling with their well-being. So this is an opportunity to come from, instead of coming from a place, especially in our communication encounters and interactions, instead of coming from a place of judgment, again, those evaluations of this is right and that is wrong, and I don't like this, and I'm going to try to control that, and I have to change this and change that, and they need to change. Instead of coming from that place, instead, just see it as it is. When we see something as it is, and we are truly centered and truly neutral, and we are not identifying with any of these judgments or evaluations, love, unconditional love, that's what unconditional love is. Acceptance comes naturally. Compassion comes naturally. When we aren't expecting someone to be a certain way, or to respond a certain way, or to agree with us, or to approve of us, or to say the right thing, or to do the right thing, if we aren't expecting anything of them, and we are not putting our own projections or assumptions or opinions on them, if we're not expecting them to be us, we automatically, naturally, it's who we are, we effortlessly become the embodiment of love, compassion, and acceptance. And we accept them for who they are. So our opportunity right now is to recognize the healing that's happening on an individual and collective level, that we're still shifting and moving and purging a lot of this stuff. Recognize that your dark night of the soul was simply and is still a clearing of the old for the new. That's all this is. Let it up and out. If you find yourself angry, up and out. If you find yourself depressed, up and out. If you find yourself rageful, up and out. Jealous, up and out. This is all old stuff. Let it come, let it go. And if you get well enough into the position of observer without judging it so much, or getting so attached to your stories about everything, right? Those judgments like we were talking about, or those beliefs and all of that, you'll be able to tell quite clearly then where your motivations and all of that lie. We were talking earlier about being able to sit with yourself and recognize your motivations, your conditioning, wounding, and baggage. That awareness comes very clearly, especially as you go forward on the path. But when you can clear your mind and you're not coming from a place of judgment, it's so much easier, and it all comes more quickly, where the awareness is boom, you already know, oh, that was from when I was 3 and this happened, or that was my internalized voice from my mother, or boom, that was okay, that's how my grandpa treated my dad, which he treated me, and now I treat other people, right? And once you know, you're like, okay, that's not mine. I have no attachment to this. I don't care how grandpa treated daddy who treated me. Like, what? I get to make my own choice. So usually all of this shifting requires is awareness. And again, if we can pull ourselves back long enough to not get too involved in the storytelling and in the emotionality or the reactivity of it, we're able to see things clearly. So all this stuff's moving up and out. When we're being triggered, awesome. It's telling us something within ourselves that we can look at. We give ourselves the opportunity to look at that, which comes very easily when we're not in a place of judgment, and then we move forward. Now we're in a clearer, more centered space to make a new choice, and that's it. The healing is the new choice. Boom. If you've made the new choice, you're done. Okay? Cooked. You're good to go. Recognizing the perfection of your life, that everything has led you here, and that you are right where you belong. Trust that. If there's any reason you are questioning that or in resistance to what's happening right now, surrender all of that. Connect with your true nature. If you struggle with that, if you are challenged to connect with your true nature, I encourage you to find other ways to follow me, which are in the endless commentary underneath this video. I have a community of women that I work with. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, so on and so forth. They're all there. I would love to support you, and if not me, then there are many others who I know who can support you, part of this greater community. And last but not least, as we're moving through this, let's be gentler, let's be more compassionate, let's be more accepting of people. Let them be right where they're at. They're suffering. A lot of people are suffering. We can let them be. We don't have to have such a problem that their opinion doesn't align with ours. And this is so much more easily done when we are stepping out of judgment and stepping into observation. Here, in this place of no evaluations, we can let them be as they are, and then compassion comes forward effortlessly. So with that, I thank you for joining me, and I look forward to talking with you again next week on our next episode of What You Need to Know Right Now.